My name is Chris. This is Scott. We're your host for the Action Lab. We are here live every Wednesday and every Sunday. But we are going to be covering a lot of the things that are happening that we can't fit in tonight. Tonight's the packed show. We still got to cover all these afternoon and morning games. But we have Deion Sanders coming to Colorado. That we're going to talk a lot about that, what that means for this conference, for the CU. We're going to talk a lot about World Cup. We're going to talk a lot about this college football playoff. We're going to talk about, there's so much we're going to cover on Wednesday. If you're enjoying the show tonight, join us back here on Wednesday night, and we have all sorts of stuff. Plus, we're going to cover Week 14 preview, plus our best bets, everything for the Week 14 matchup. So don't skip out. We're 2 follows away from gifting out a couple more subs. Hit that follow button so you get all the notifications when we go live. Boom. I feel like I blazed through that like a champion. All right.
You did great. Now we're getting into
Patriots and Bills.
Our favorite couple in the entire NFL, and Bill Belichick.
Oh, man. Bill Belichick and the Patriots end up dropping this one to the Buffalo Bills. Unfortunately, Scotty, this was both of our best bets of the week on different levels, and we both got just torched on this one. The Patriots didn't do anything. Like, they needed to help us out in this matchup. They did not. We thought they were going to do a little bit more against the Buffalo Bills defense that was missing Von Miller. Didn't quite get there, but they lose 24-10. I had the over at 43.5. They had the touchdown called back for a holding call and a missed field goal, which would have put me over by a half a point. Couldn't quite get there.
You always love to point out your close misses how you lose. Love it. I love it. I respect that.
Yeah.
We could also break down your close wins and how you win.
Don't worry about that. I won. Okay. A win's a win, baby.
Yep. I like that. Nice.
But yeah, Scotty, what did you think of this one?
I just lost this one. I was dead wrong. I was on the Patriots plus 4.5, and I underestimated how bad Matt Patricia is.
Gosh, Matt Patricia was the story of this game, wasn't he?
Because that dude is... I knew he was trash of an offensive coordinator, but draw up anything. Obviously, after the fact, we see on the sideline, Mac Jones... You're trying to mouth what he's saying. He's clearly yelling at Matt Patricia and pass the ball. And then I've heard
the
some
run
people
game
say
is
it's the run game. I have also seen people think it's the quick game. And I when you read it that way, either way works. It could be one or the other. Either way, it doesn't matter. In fact, it would be more accurate on the quick game though. If you use the quick game doesn't work, it was not working. This is shit. The game plan offensively for the Patriots was a disaster in this one. Didn't work at all. And they got exposed a little bit. They're 6-6. I don't know. They play the Bills again. I don't know where. I don't want the Patriots to be in the playoffs. They're a boring ass football team. Right now they're out. They're a game back of the Jets. They're a boring ass football team. I don't want them to make it.
Yeah. First half in this game, Josh Allen had 205 air yards, 118 pass yards total. Mac Jones 41. Mac Jones was not it either in this first half of this game, but this was very. I don't know. Patriots are a boring team right now. They're not going to be a team that you're going to want to. Who roots for the Patriots anyway? We have a couple folks in Massachusetts that aren't even they're Cowboys fans now. So it's hey.
Are people slowly changing their opinion on Bill Belichick?
That's a good. That's
they're
a good
6-6.
That's a good point.
To be frank, they're 6-6 with a roster that I'm 6-6 is actually pretty good for this roster. I don't think it's a good team, but at the same time, he's not achieving anything once Brady left, right? So does that, as we continue to move forward, if Belichick's obsessed with the game, I think Belichick is one of those guys that if he retired, would literally have no clue what to do. He would just no clue what to do with his life. So he's just going to hang on as long as he can. And the Patriots aren't going to fire Belichick, right?
No way.
You can't
no
fire
shot.
Belichick.
No shot.
Where does he, if he continues, if he goes another 5-6 seasons and the Patriots he doesn't win another playoff game in 5 or 6 seasons, where does that, how does that move his trajectory as far as all-time coaches? I think it changes things, right? He's jeopardizing, and maybe he doesn't care. He's the guy that doesn't care. He's like, I just want to do what I love, and I respect that. But
Yeah.
reckon Scotty, you give me shit for criticizing coaches that once. I am literally not criticizing Belichick. I'm just saying, how does this change the idea that he was like a clear cut greatest coach of all time, and now he's struggling a little bit. I'm not saying they should fire Bill Belichick. I just said at 6-6, they're probably overachieving based off their roster. So they should keep Belichick. I'm not saying fire Belichick at all. Just like I don't think
Robert Kraft
it's to blame in Pittsburgh with Tomlin. Wreck. And by the way, now they're winning games. How you feel about Tomlin now? Tomlin's not going anywhere either.
Tomlin, baby.
Buckle up, Wreck.
Well, first of all, yeah, Tomlin, he's trying to redeem himself a little bit. Rex singled out. Also, but real quick, Phoenix the 5th, welcome in. Hey, how you doing, Phoenix? Obviously, we know where you're from, I think, but Suns fan, Suns and his Cardinals, let us know. But yeah, this is Bills owning this division a little bit. I mean, Patriots going to be looking up at a lot of teams in this division.
Bills aren't owning the division right now.
Not,
I mean,
well,
they got a game lead now.
I guess what I'm trying to say
Dolphins,
is
Jets,
Dolphins,
2 games
Jets.
in the Jets, but they're 1-2 in the division.
Gosh, the Jets should have won that game earlier. But anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
Next up, Browns and Texans. Man, if there's one game that I would love for the Browns to lose, it would be against the awful Texans.
Well, I want them to lose all their games.
I want them to lose all their games, true. But I mean, how sweet would it have been? By the way, guys, this score is absolutely one of the weirdest scores based off of what actually happened in this game. If I were to tell you guys that, was there a single offensive touchdown in this game, Scotty?
Yeah, there was one. And it was by the
Texans. Was by the Texans. Because the Browns did not score an offensive touchdown with Deshaun Watson coming back into the mix here at all. Yet they scored 27 points. And it's like, okay, there was a couple pick sixes, there was a special teams, there was pick
six, fumble return for a touchdown,
unreal.
And a special teams touchdown. 3 touchdowns, 2 by the defense, 1 by special teams. I mean,
this one was ridiculous.
There's a joke I want to make here, but like, how many favors was Watson done here?
Oh my goodness! I mean, how? As a Texans fan, the Browns could have Watson. LOL. Yeah, Sleeping Beauty. Like, I mean, everyone's rooting against the Browns.
He was bad. Like literally, Brissett is better right now. Maybe Watson figures it out, but I really hope not. But literally, 131 yards passing for Watson. 21 yards rushing, a pick, no touchdowns because they didn't score an offensive touchdown. They literally handed the ball off all game. Like, he got a gift in playing the Texans first. The Browns are worse off right now with Deshaun Watson than they are with Brissett. And they are at Cincinnati next week, and they're going to get exposed. They're going to get exposed for sure. Like, it's not going to be a close game.
Like, what's the line on that game right now?
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't looked. Let me see if I can figure that out. But
while you figure that out, yeah. I mean, but either way, the Browns were this is a weird game, and I really I think the Browns will be better with Watson, unfortunately, but at the same time, I mean,
I'm not sure of it. Watson looked garbage in preseason, looked garbage in training camp, and looked garbage in this game. I'm not sure that Watson's ever going to get back to the level he was. And maybe that's just wishful thinking. But right now, that can't be right. That can't be right.
What is it? Do we need to make a best bet of the week like today?
It's 4.5 or 5. Depending on where you're at right now.
For who?
Cincy's favored by 4.5 or 5 at home against Cleveland next week.
Ooh.
4.5 or 5?
That's the look ahead?
That should be over a touchdown, in my opinion.
I mean, I
That should
feel
be
like
over a
Cincinnati.
tutty.
I feel like
Now this is not a good spot for Cincy to bet because Cincy just won their Super Bowl. So there's probably going to be like a letdown as far as their performance off of this week, but still,
you still
4.5 or 5, and the over under is at like 48.5, 49.5. I would go Actually, that's the better bet. Go under all day on that. That is, I don't, I like, I'm shocked looking at this right now. It does not make sense to me. I'm like grabbing my phone right now to make a bet.
grab your phone, make your bets. Cleveland Browns 5-7 with Deshaun Watson joining this week. Still looking up at 8-4 for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. So, I mean, they still have a lot of work to do. And I mean, I just like the Browns aren't it. The Browns aren't it. I mean,
No, he looked like trash.
I can't talk bad about any team. The Texans are just a sorry team. Sleeping Beauty, though, like it eventually it'll get better. It'll always turn around for you. We have a few Texans fans or people from that area. So
The only team I hope it doesn't turn around for is the Browns.
yeah, exactly.
Nothing against their fans, but they sold their soul on Deshaun Watson, and I hope they fail epically.
He only had 2 to 3 weeks practice, though. I don't know if he was supposed to click. I just like Russ and their play calling.
But he was in there preseason and training camp and looked bad throughout that. Like he was in there at times. Like it wasn't just like he only had this week to. It was his first week back and first real game action in a couple years, right? He took, basically 2 years off.
Is this true? Rec in the chat. Breaking news: over 200 recruits and transfers have reached out to University of Colorado. Some being 4- and 5-star recruits. I mean,
I don't know if that number is true, and probably no one knows if that number is true. But
that's ridiculous.
I've heard that there's other rumors of other big name players wanting to potentially head to Colorado. I mean, I honestly, it's the story should be bigger than it is. Like Deion's gonna bring big name players. I have no idea if Deion could coach, and people are like. Some people in Colorado are like, well, yeah, he'll stay at CU, and then in 2 years, he'll go to, I don't know, like Alabama,
Florida State,
wherever.
Florida State's a big one.
And part of me is just like, all right, if Deion can recruit at Colorado and win at Colorado, why does he need to go to like Florida State? Like these schools that can recruit themselves are like, so I literally heard someone say like, oh, he can replace Saban eventually at Alabama. I'm like, why would he go to Alabama? Alabama's gonna get guys regardless, unless like maybe if he's just an elite coach. I don't know how he is as a coach, right? We know he's a great recruiter. He dominated.
He turned around a small program.
Jackson State.
I mean, I don't know.
For sure, but that's like, he dominated based off his name and recruiting.
True.
He had more talent than anyone else out there, by far. And he won games. So we don't know how he is as a coach, but if you're CU, that's irrelevant.
We're going to dive a lot more into this.
You need talent.
Yeah, we're going to dive a lot more into this on Wednesday. So, guys, if you guys want to talk some prime, you want to talk some CU and all of the college football playoff and everything, we're going to hit it up a ton on Wednesday night. Make sure you hit that follow button. 2 follows away from gifting out a couple more subs to the community. And we're only 6 subs away from 60 is our sub goal. So let's get to 60, guys. Why not? Let's overshoot. Let's be proactive with that. Why not? So Broncos,
FBS.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, the Pac-10 with no USC or UCLA. Are we acting like those 2 teams have dominated that league in the last decade? Because they haven't. Especially UCLA and USC obviously had a good year this year. Now that they added the new coach, but
before
USC hasn't been good. Before that hasn't been much and got dominated in the Pac-12 championship game. So Pac-12 is going to be fine without USC and UCLA. Quite frankly, I think it's a mistake for those 2 schools to go to the Big Ten. Some of these moves make a lot of sense. USC, UCLA going to the Big Ten makes 0 sense to me.
Yeah. Again, I can't wait to talk more college football. But we still got a lot of NFL Week 13 to get to. We'll get through this one pretty quick. Broncos, Ravens. Broncos owned this game, which isn't saying much, for most of it. And the Ravens, on the other hand, are used to giving up last minute leads. This time, the Broncos were in the giving season, giving away this one. The Broncos were up in this one, and they were scoring field goal by field goal by field goal throughout this one. And I mean, it's just you just can't figure it out. The Broncos only give up 10 points to the lowly Baltimore Ravens. Simmons, 2 interceptions. Defense playing out of their minds all game long. And yet our offense cannot figure out a way to score more than 10 points. Are you kidding me? We can't score a touchdown, Scotty. This is ridiculous. We started out the game with some blunders with the couple 30, like there was a couple 35 and 40-yard punts that were awful by our special teams. You had our 26th going into the first half, our 26th pre-snap penalty leading the NFL. Not a great coach team, obviously. And we don't have a quarterback that can throw the ball at all. So with that being said, the Broncos find new ways to lose games, and this is no different. They lose this one to the Baltimore Ravens, which they should have beat. How many times have we said this, Scotty? They just can't put enough points on the board to help their defense out. And here we are. Russ, this coaching staff, everything. We give this game back to the Ratbirds, and here we are. Ravens win 10-9.
What's the stat if you guys could just score 12 points per game?
We were like 11-1, 12-1.
That was for 18, but yeah. I'm saying for 12 cuz that's what you needed here. Just one more field goal. One more field goal, you win this game. I didn't see a ton of this game, to be honest, thankfully. I saw that Lamar went out. We'll see where that injury heads. I think they released that it's weeks or days to weeks that he could be out, but it's not season ending. I think it's a PCL. So it's a knee injury, but it's not season ending. He'll probably be back at some point. For the Broncos, I don't know, man. I didn't see a lot of this game, but you played a backup quarterback. You had a lead at the time the backup quarterback came in, I believe. It was 6-3. It was not a lot, but defense balled their ass off. Like, I can't imagine how that locker room plays out right now, Chris. Like, the defense must be frustrated as hell. Like, there's no way that's a unified locker room. And granted, a lot of losing locker rooms aren't, but a lot of losing locker rooms, you're like, oh, one game the offense is bad, one game the defense is bad. Like, it's literally always the offense. And yeah, the defense gave up a late touchdown that cost them the game, but it was also 10-9. It was 10-9. They lost 10-9. That's not even a real football score, Chris. That's not a real football score. 10-9 is not a real football score. So Broncos moved to 3-9, 1-6 on the road. They play my Chiefs a couple times, so we'll see how that goes moving forward. Baltimore escapes, quite frankly, and gets lucky to get a W here. Chairman, 10-9 would be a good soccer score. Yeah. Good old soccer, Chairman. I know you love the soccer. Yeah, 10-9 would be an epic soccer score. That would be a phenomenal soccer game that I would watch every time. Chairman, are you breaking down the men's loss tonight? Yeah, we can talk about the men at the end. U.S. men's team. I want to talk about it.
Sorry, Gator Boy. Thank you for the follow.
Thank you. Sorry, I was talking. Thank you, Gator Boy.
I was also muted for a second. But thank you for the follow. Where are you from and who's your team? We are one follow away from gifting out 2 more subs. F in the chat. Spam it. Respect.
Chairman, you guys suck me into watching soccer only to break my heart. Imagine my heart.
We'll talk a lot about World Cup on Wednesday, so don't you worry, Chairman. We're gonna get into it. Florida and the Falcons. I had Gator. Your boys let me down this weekend on my best bet, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But
Florida
Broncos
and the Falcons. And I know Pitts is out for a year, but why don't the Falcons throw to the guy they drafted number 4 overall last year?
True.
Peter. I know he's out. I know he's hurt now, but like they don't throw to him. They don't throw to their, and London had like 2 great games at the start too. Their number 1 pick this year. And then they stopped throwing to him too. I don't know. And yes, Mariota's a problem, but still, stop running the football, Atlanta.
True.
You're boring. You're boring.
I bet Mr. Walmart, the owner of the Broncos, is not happy with this. No, I mean there's gonna be some conversations happening very, very soon about how to make this better. Thunder, someone worse than Matt Canada? Yeah, there are people out there worse than Matt Canada for sure.
Maybe a tie. I don't want to instantly. I'm not taking Matt Canada over necessarily anybody, but there's maybe some ties out there where I just want to literally send all those coaches into space.
Whiskey Echo Bravo, welcome in, my friend. How we doing? How's your weekend?
What's up? How's it going, Whiskey?
Let's see. All right, so next up we got the Bears, Packers at Bears. Scotty, if there's one team that Mr. Old Man Aaron Rodgers owns more, it's
loves to play this team.
Loves the Chicago Bears. And Justin Fields coming back off of that, missing a week and kind of getting better injury-wise, but Packers still put up what they need to. Justin Fields still looking like the best player out of that draft. Milwaukee's popping in. Yes, easy win next game. You weren't saying that last guy.
This game, like Fields balled out. He threw the ball 25 times. Only 3 of those hit the ground, Chris. Unfortunately, 2 of them went into Packer hands.
True.
That's where this game was. Like Fields, in my mind, almost outplayed Rodgers. 20-25, 254. But had 2 interceptions. Rodgers 18 of 31 for 182. Both run games, they featured a lot. I mean, the Packers ran the ball a ton, 32 times and Chicago ran it 25 times. Both teams prolific on the ground. But the Packers just do what they do, which is beat the Bears and somewhat handily. Like this was like one of the closer games, ironically. Green Bay put up 18. This was 19-10 going to the fourth quarter. Green Bay puts up an 18 spot in the fourth quarter, and Rodgers, if nothing else, is allowed to retain his ownership of the Bears. Obviously the Packers are a publicly owned team, so he can't own that one fully, but he can own the Bears.
Roger. This was a Super Bowl of sorts, Scotty. Both teams coming into this game were 786 wins. Most regular season wins in NFL history, tied. So the winner of this game took the lead of most wins all time. So the Green Bay Packers are now the most winning team in NFL history at 787 versus the Chicago Bears at 786. Go figure.
Yeah. G-Girl highlighting that football wife is gifting the subs. Football wife's always the best. We know that. Despite the team she roots for, she's awesome. I'm kidding. Chairman Christian Watson with another solid game. So Chairman DM me on Discord this week, Chris, asking me for fantasy advice. And he's like, I got to put Christian Watson in. Where do I move people? And I'm like, I would actually leave, based off his roster, I was like, leave Watson on your bench. He only catches like 3 catches a game. He's like the last 3 games, he's had 12 catches with like 5 touchdowns. That's not or 6 touchdowns. That's not sustainable. What does he do today, Chris? 1 catch, 46 yards, and a touchdown. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. What do you do with that? He had 1 grab. I was right, but it was also for 46 yards and a touchdown. Was I wrong?
You'll take it, I guess. I mean, yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
I don't know. Hopefully your other guys outperform that, Chairman.
Our kicker whiffs way too many kicks, is Boofus. Wow, that stat should have gotten more publicity or pub. Yeah, can't blame you. I agree with you. I agree with you and benched him. Yeah.
You can't start a guy that gets 1 grab today.
But the Packers,
2
regardless,
grabs, whatever it was. Was it 1 or 2? 3. He got 3 for 48, but 1 was for. Oh no, he had a 46-yard run, and then a 48-yard. Never mind. He had 2 touchdowns.
but
Never mind, Chris.
the Bears are the second team to be eliminated from playoff contention next to the Houston Texans. So we're starting to trickle down into that realm of who's locking in. They're punching their tickets to the playoffs and who's getting eliminated. The Bears are eliminated. The Packers still, trying to figure out a way at 5-8 to get in the hunt with the Lions 5-7 above them. But yeah, there you go. Minnesota Vikings leading the division at 10-2. Next up, Jags and Lions. Speaking of the Lions, putting up a 40 burger, no big deal on the Jags. The big story in this one, I don't know if you saw this, Scotty, but Trevor Lawrence had a nasty twisted knee, like knee, ankle, you name it. I'm shocked he didn't tear his ACL. But he came back into this game after leaving, going to the locker room, coming back, and he looked good. He was scrambling, he was running around the field, so he's fine. Dr. J, the Jags. Yeah, your husband, Dr. J.
Yeah.
Not too happy, but that statue in the house is still, representing strong. The Jags cannot get anything going. The Lions were way too much here, and the Lions come away with a win in this one.
I mean, imagine saying the Lions are way too much for your team. I appreciate Trevor coming back. I do, and I have nothing against Trevor Lawrence. I think he has certainly games where he flashes, and then games where you're like, who is this guy? This was more of a who is this guy game, obviously. But someone like put out there on Twitter like, oh, the locker room will appreciate the hell out of him coming back. And while I don't disagree with that, I also am like, what is this locker room? Because your team has lost outside of one season the past like 15 years. So is this a great locker room where you care about that? You let Jared Goff throw for 340 on 31 of 41, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Again, you let Jared Goff throw all over you. So I'm not sure I care about this locker room. I care about Trevor Lawrence's health if you're Jacksonville. You need him healthy. He's your future, along with ETN. You probably need to find some more weapons at the wide receiver. They did trade for Mr. Suspended this year. We'll see with Calvin Ridley next year if that helps, along with Christian Kirk. Maybe you have some options there. Maybe this offense grows. But they didn't look good today. The defense looked way worse. And the Lions, 5-7. I said, Chris, what did I say? I said they flirted around 500.
They've won 4 of 5.
Yeah, to me, they felt like an 8-9 team, and that's kind of where I think they're headed right now. Yeah. Maybe even 9-8. Let's get crazy. Let's go wild, Chairman.
Let's go wild.
Let's go 9-8. Let's get wild.
Sleeping Beauty, by the way,
up and coming.
You have some cool emotes. The rat in a lab coat with a beer. That's our least popular one.
That's an OG right
That's
there.
An original one. So I appreciate the love on the old school. Cheers with a lab rat. Appreciate that. Thank you. Damn, I picked a bad time to get ice cream. Jared Goff is a Jekyll and Hyde. Either has an elite game or shows why he's number 1 overall pick or why he plays the USFL backup. No in between. Joker.
Yeah, but he's a lot more Hyde.
Yeah.
Wait, which one's the bad one, actually? Is Hyde the bad one?
Dr. Jekyll is the sophisticated one. Mr. Okay. Hyde, I think, is
never seen. Where does that come from, actually? Is that like a play?
It's a book.
A book. It's a book. Oh, that's right. I can't read, Chris.
Yeah.
As the chat pointed out. So why would I open a book?
Yeah,
I can't read.
Jag sucks. Vikings was supposed to be the division champs today. Says Joker.
Joker, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna win the division. Don't panic.
You're winning that one, running away. Let's just say that. If the Lions find a way to make way to the playoffs, long shot, I know, says Chairman. The Lions will be that team that I don't think anyone will want to play, even though they're like 9-8.
Yeah, I don't
think you're off.
I don't. Well, maybe the offense of the other team might want to play him, but the defense won't. I think the offense for the Lions is pretty damn solid. And again, If they make the playoffs, maybe you add a certain Jamison Williams to the mix, their first round pick at wideout out of Alabama, who I think eventually will be a difference maker coming off that ACL and hasn't played obviously thus far this year. The defense for the Lions has a lot to be desired. Like, it's not a good defense.
They got some work to do. By the way,
They're
guys,
trying. They played today. You're right, Chairman. They played hard today and they played well today. But overall, that Lions defense is not going to scare people in the playoffs.
Bongfoot, what's up? Yo, welcome in. Hope you're having a great weekend, my friend. Good to have you back in the chat. Let's get it. Welcome.
Raiders.
The Raiders. We'll get to that game here in a minute. By the way, my name is Chris. This is Scott. We are your host for the Action Lab. For all you guys who are just lurking in the background, new to the channel, we are here always on Wednesdays and Sunday nights. We're also covering World Cup. We have a lot of stuff happening on Wednesday when it comes to college football and all sorts of different things happening. So make sure you hit that follow button. We are 2 follows away, 1 or 2 follows from giving out a couple more subs to the community. So make sure you hit that follow button. Next up, Scotty, this one.
Yeah, Bengals won.
You've been itching to get to this one.
No, we don't have to talk about this one. Congrats to the Bengals on a win against the Chiefs. Big win for the Bengals. Let's move on, Chris.
No, you never let me sweat down my Broncos, and you never let Chairman sweat down his Lions, and you never let Milwaukee sweat down his Packers. So we're going to talk about this one a little bit, Scotty. What happened? 3-0, baby, says football wife. Oh, wow. The Bengals won, huh? Cool. Haven't heard, says Chairman.
Cool, Chairman. Cool. Try and support your Lions, and this is how you do me.
Bruh. Here we go. Chiefs have no defense, Scotty, says G-Girl. You're going to
I think the Bengals probably have a good offense, but the Chiefs defense played like absolute shit today. No doubt about it. Like, I'm mad at a few things, but I'm mostly mad at the front 4 on our defense, which was non-existent, and our tackling, which was the worst I've ever seen. I've never seen a team tackle as poorly as the Chiefs did today. Like, every play, like, Burrow could throw to the running back, and he would have a guy in front of him, and he would get 4 more yards regardless. And then, like, a game-changing play at the end of the game, they throw into the flat against Jamar Chase, where we have 4 guys out there to their 2, and somehow Jamar Chase, I would question whether he actually got the first down, but we didn't have any timeouts left, so we couldn't challenge. Didn't matter. And he got way too close. It shouldn't have been that close. He should have been stopped for like a yard. Instead, he gets like 5 yards, picks up the first down late, and then listen, credit to the Bengals. The Chiefs got off to a slow start. Bengals started off hot. Chiefs do take a 24-17 lead in this one. Bengals add a field goal, and then Chiefs get a big play to Travis Kelce up the middle, and Kelce fumbles midfield. That's where, literally at that moment, I was like, all right, we're going to lose this game. We were up 3 or 4, actually, at that time. I'm like, no, we just lost. Kelce fumbled. This is over. And sure enough, Bengals take advantage of that, get a touchdown. We get back, and we're basically, we're in field goal range. Mahomes this is what the Bengals defense does almost 70% of the time against the Chiefs. They rush 3 and drop out 8. And for whatever reason, our offensive line can't block 3 guys, Chris. Our offensive line...
It's kind of a problem.
Can't block 3 guys. Orlando Brown Jr., by the way, bet on himself. Our left tackle for the Chiefs. He bet on himself this offseason. The Chiefs gave him a big offer. He's like, no, I'm going to take the franchise tag, and I'm going to bet on myself. Guess what? You done fucked up, dude, because you suck. You suck, Orlando Brown. Our offensive line was trash. Our defensive line was trash. Our tackling was trash. Fumble from Kelce was not good. And I don't want to mention the refs, Chris.
Don't do it.
But there was one, and it was first half. It was early on. It was 2 plays back to back. But football wife, that pick where they called defensive pass interference on the Chiefs, where the Chiefs would have been set up down 7-3, first and goal, but instead the Bengals went on to score a touchdown on that drive, was absolute garbage. Garbage defensive pass interference on that call. Jamar Chase just kind of fell over. Not to mention that they threw the flag like 5 minutes after the Chiefs picked the ball off. And then all of a sudden he's running, the Chiefs DB's running for like 2 minutes, and then they throw a flag. I'm salty. You're right. I'm not blaming it on the refs. The Chiefs were up 7 in the second half. They had every opportunity to win this game. They didn't. I respect the talent on the Bengals a ton. I do not like their team, Chris. I think they're like, oh, the Chiefs talked a ton of trash. It was one dude on the Chiefs, Justin Reed, who's new. I think the Bengals have talked a ton of shit after beating the Chiefs 3 straight times. So talk your shit. Talk your shit.
Well, it all matters. It all matters in the playoffs when we get back into the playoffs, right?
Matters if you win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So either way, salty says. So,
I am salty.
Yeah, no,
I am salty.
Well,
regardless of that call, which I don't agree with, the Chiefs had every opportunity to win that game, and they blew it. Like they tended to do against the Bengals.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. Like, at least you have a good enough team to be salty about. I don't need my team can't. I can't even be salty about my team. So at least there's that. Salty A Smith LMAO. I think earlier Chairman was like, assuming MVP Mahomes got knocked out of the game.
Mahomes played fine in this game. Mahomes played damn well. I have no problems with Mahomes.
McDuggets offensive line couldn't block 3 guys. Sounds like Madden.
Yeah, no, our offensive line was garbage. So, and by the way, we give the offensive line for the Bengals a hard time all the time. They dominated today. They dominated the Chiefs D line.
The Chiefs, Burrow,
as I said, could have sent 4, 5, 6. It didn't matter. We didn't get pressure on him. And when we did, they called a roughing the passer for no reason. I'm just kidding. Just once. But no, like the Bengals offense dominated our defense. Our tackling was shit. We were garbage tackling. Credit to the Bengals. They played great offensively. They obviously got Chase back. That was a huge deal. Without Jamar Chase, we would have absolutely won this game. But Jamar Chase is a different dude. He's on a different level.
Chairman, 1 touchdown, 9 yards rushing aren't exactly Mahomes MVP numbers. Here's the
Chairman, you're smarter than to cherry pick touchdowns and rushing yards, right?
Rushing yards is kind of a weird one. The 1 touchdown maybe, but like the rushing yards, I feel like is a little bit. Mahomes is a good quarterback regardless of the
Devil Doc. It was Chase. He's talking about out of bounds one-hander by Higgins. It was Chase. It was definitely Chase.
Sorry, Scotty. The only thing more fun than always being on the same page with you is trolling you. Yeah.
Which is fair, but that's such a Mahomes didn't have enough rushing yards to be MVP today. Last time I checked, he's a quarterback. I don't know.
But anyways, so we'll stick it with the AFC West though. Sticking with the AFC West, we got the Chargers and the Raiders. And Scotty, there's one thing that as a Bronco fan, as a Chief fan,
yeah,
you and I really do. There's not a lot of things we agree on, but there is one thing we really relish in, and that's watching the Chargers fail at an epic rate. We appreciate a team that's overhyped every single year and just chokes every single year. And I was a big Raiders fan in this one. Scotty, I'm sure you were a big Raiders fan in this one. To watch the Chargers go down to the Raiders 27-20 was very fitting for how they finish out this epic season that everyone predicted them to have or going into it. So, Scotty, if there was one positive from from this entire division, it was the fact that the Raiders beat the Chargers this weekend.
Yeah, no, I'm here for the Chargers choking and now moving to 6-6 and being the team we know. Um, Listen, Derek Carr threw for 250 yards in this game, Chris. 177 of those went to Devontae Adams. I don't know if the Chargers knew that Devontae Adams was good or whether they just didn't know he had been traded to the Raiders or what happened there. But maybe.
Why can't Patrick Mahomes use his phone? Because he can't find the receiver. I kid Scotty.
No, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. He was without.
Thank you for the bit.
Was without his fastest receiver this week. No big deal. But he'll be back. He'll be back. Mecole Hardman didn't play this week. It's fine. It's fine. No, but in this one, like maybe guard Devontae Adams. 8 catches, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was literally offense along with Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams were the only offense the Raiders had, but it was a very prolific offense in that sense. Chargers kind of did Charger things, had no running game to speak of. Relied on Herbert to sling it around. He had a great throw on like a 4th and 12 to cut it to 7 late. To Keenan Allen for a touchdown. That was an elite throw, but overall, Mike Williams didn't play in this game for him. But I'm sick of excuses for like Herbert. Like, do better, dude. I mean, win games. Win games at some point.
I mean, is Herbert that guy?
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
He might not be that guy. I don't know. I'm waiting for Herbert.
He's so good. He needs to be coached up better. I think he needs to be coached up better.
But they've had a couple. How many coaches have coached him? 2, 3?
He's played like 3 years. This is his second coach. He had the coach the first year, not even a full season that he played, and then now coach they have now, who's either Staley's either wildly aggressive or wildly conservative, and there's no in between. Herbert can definitely.
He's talented.
Are you telling me, like, listen, Mahomes is better, but like if Herbert's on the Chiefs, he's winning a lot of football games. He's winning a ton of football games with Andy Reid.
Maybe that's a fair point.
He just needs better coaching. Like, he's too robotic right now. Part of me wants to, like, why don't you let Herbert be a little bit more of like a free spirit where like it's not an internal clock where like, all right, I go 1, 2, and then after 2 seconds, if no one's open, I'm dumping it off to Austin Eckler in the flat every time.
I mean, we're putting it on him too. Also, the defense is terrible. The Chargers' run defense is in historic territory. They're allowing an average 5.53 yards per carry on designed rushes this season. That is the worst average of any defense since 2000. And it could potentially be worse because this outlet that records this only goes back to 2000. So they're bad defensively. Remember when we came into the season and everyone was like, "Oh man, they got Bosa,
I got yelled at.
You got ripped
in our preview over talking about their run defense being bad.
And you got ripped.
I got destroyed.
And everyone was like, "Oh,
like, we added this guy and this guy and this guy. The run defense is going to be great."
They're terrible.
Yeah,
historically terrible. Anyways,
in the chat, Dr. J asking, "Will a coach like Sean Payton be good for Herbert?" Funny you asked that. I would, if you can find a betting site right now, Chris, where you can put money on who the next Chargers coach is, which you can't right now because they have a guy in that job, but I think Staley gets fired, and I fully expect Sean Payton to be the coach of the Los Angeles Chargers next year. The only reason he wouldn't, he loves Mahomes. He respects, like, he thinks Mahomes is like the greatest prospect football scene in a long, long time. We all know he's said on different podcasts and interviews, like, the Chiefs moved up, took Mahomes at 10. Saints had the 11th pick. They would have taken Mahomes there. He loved Mahomes. But I don't think he'd shy away from that. I think Peyton thinks he's a pretty good coach. I think he can win with Herbert. I fully expect Sean Payton to be the next coach. of the Los Angeles Chargers.
I mean, it's a good place to live too, right? I mean, you can't really, San Diego. I mean, a lot, I guess, Los Angeles.
Rex, Sean Payton is going to go to Dallas. Jerry loves Sean and would.
No, you can't.
The problem is
they
Dallas
keep
is winning too many games.
They keep winning.
I agree. I think that would have been my pick before this season, but now Dallas is winning games, and I don't think Jerry's just going to out Mike McCarthy if he goes like.
You can't fire a guy that's like winning games.
Know. What does he do? He goes like 13-4, and you're going to fire him?
It's a weird thing.
I don't know.
So either way, I mean. Can we get a better coach in Denver?
It's so weird that we're talking about the Chiefs and Mahomes during the Chargers Raiders wrap up. We weren't even talking about the Chargers Raiders. We were talking about Sean Payton.
For the origami workshop.
Damn it.
I can't believe I lost the rocks, paper, scissors.
Thanks, P3, for the bit and the joke. Appreciate that. Thank you for all the support. Action Lab. This is way off topic, but do you ever see Vic Fangio become a DC the 2023 with a team?
He had offers this offseason that he declined to be DC. Absolutely. Fangio will be a DC in the league again. No doubt about it. As he should be. He should be a DC.
I think he's a good DC. I mean, he's the defensive side of who is the most
You're going to say like Wade Phillips.
Wade Phillips, who is like, I mean.
Today, a large truck full of hair restoring tonic overturned and flooded the street. Police are combing the area.
I like it. Hey, thank you.
I gotta read that one again, and it's hard for me to read. Today, a large. I'll read that quietly.
Yeah, go ahead. Nice little joke, right?
Homing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for the joke, Devil Doc. Appreciate that. Love. All right. So next up, we had the game that I was able to guess correctly on my bet of the week, but this was the only one. So definitely didn't do very well this week. But either way, the 49ers I felt really good about. Miami Dolphins traveling to the West Coast to play San Francisco. And, if you were to tell me that, all right, Jimmy G would get knocked out of this game off for the season in the beginning of this game, I would have been like, oh man, like there's no way I would have bet the way I bet on this one. I think I got 3.5 for 49ers. And I was like, I love them at that number. But this almost, Scotty, I don't know how Jimmy G goes out and I'm panicked. I'm like, oh man, I don't know how the 49ers are offensively. They're defensively, they're a stacked roster. Overall, they're a stacked roster. But defensively, they could hold their own. Offensively, I don't know if they can score points. And here enough, Jimmy G goes down in the first quarter, and the 49ers still put up 33 on a Dolphins team who's not a good defense, not a bad. They're kind of middle of the road here. They're fine. Got Bradley Chubb rushing them. Still. But rip Jimmy G. Thank you for you guys throwing that out there in the chat. It sucks when you see guys that you really, you don't want people to go out like this. I was shocked that they were able to win this game still without Jimmy G the way they did. And that's a credit to Shanahan, the head coach for the 49ers. That's a credit to how talented this defense and the rest of this offense is still. They still have weapons everywhere. And the fact that they're still able to put a game plan for anybody who's throwing the ball to get something going. I had -3 or -3.5 for the San Francisco 49ers, and they covered, and I was like, all right, I'll take it. Going into this game and even towards the end of this game, I was like, man, they can still do damage in the playoffs.
Brock Purdy, first Mr. Irrelevant to throw a TD pass in NFL history.
Brock Purdy, first Mr. Irrelevant. There you go. Throw a touchdown pass. Love that stat.
The biggest storyline, and Chris, to be honest, I was obviously focused in on my Chiefs game in the afternoon when this game was going on. I did see first play of the game, Chris. 75-yard tutty for the Dolphins.
True.
Trent Sheffield, whatever you want to say his name is.
Very
wide open
play.
over the middle. Tua finds him. 75 yards. Everyone's like, all right, this Miami team's legit. I, after that point, didn't see a ton of that game because the Chiefs game started off, and I was pretty involved with that one. But I was on Twitter a lot, and people that have been hyping Tua beyond belief were literally tweeting how bad he was in this game. Like, he was missing, apparently, supposedly, wide open dudes. Now, and then he got hurt at some point as well with like an ankle thing. But before that, he was just missing dudes, according to what I saw on Twitter. I didn't see the game fully. And before we hype up Brock Purdy, let's hype up the 49ers defense. They played phenomenal after that first play of the game, right? A lot of people talking about how yummy, by the way, Jimmy GQ looks, and that's not our stream, guys. We're not gonna objectify men. Like, I'm just kidding.
I mean, he looks
so yummy.
He's yummy. He's yummy.
Yummy.
I mean,
but Chris, so this game was 17-10 at halftime. Purdy did have a nice drive before the end of the half. The second half, the Niners scoring drives were 39 yards, field goal, 7 yards, field goal, 34 yards, field goal, and then a fumble return for a touchdown. So we'll see where this 49ers team can go moving forward with a third string quarterback in Brock Purdy. I think that's the end for them. Like, someone put in this chat that I was just reading, like, how is this Niners team so good? I think the roster is great. They coming into this game, they were the number one defense in the NFL, I think, in points per game. Dominated a lot of teams, playing an elite offense. Miami is one of the best offenses in the league thus far. Now Miami played a real defense, so maybe we found out some things.
And that was the whole
Miami.
reason why I picked Miami to like struggle in this game, is because they haven't played a lot of elite defenses up until this point. The 49ers are a number one overall defense in the league. And I was really curious to see how that would stack up against Tua, and he struggled mightily against this defense. So like, this is exactly what I thought would happen in this one, where he just like, he had a lot of layups leading up to this. How do you perform? If he came out and lit up this 49ers defense, the first play of the game kind of scared me a little bit. Don't get me wrong. I was kind of terrified after that first play. But then I saw a pick, an interception, and like, I mean, it was just like turnover after turnover after bad throw. And I was just like, after a while, it's nice to figure out that, like, yeah, you got to start playing some defenses before you can figure out what you really are. Broncos did this last year. They were started out 4-0, 5-0. What was it? They started 4-0 playing bad teams, and then all of a sudden you play a real team, and then what happens? The wheels fall off. That's exactly the situation here with Tua. Played a lot of bad defenses, play a real one, and see what happens. And this is what happened.
Yep. Couple things in the chat I'd like to address. First of all, we're obviously on a Cooper Rush.
Spamming the Cooper Rush in the chat.
Hype train right now. Chairman throwing out maybe the Niners will look to Cooper, maybe on a trade. That'd be unprecedented. And then people throwing me shade because I'm not a subscriber of this stream, Chris. And what I will say to that is I'm authentic, guys. I don't want manufactured subs. All right, me subscribing to my own channel is like not legitimate. It's manufactured. It's not real. That's just cheating. I want to know. I would much rather have people that sub authentically, like you all have, and I appreciate each and every one of you that have, and I appreciate each and every one of you that chat. But I don't have an interest in subbing and generating an extra sub as someone that, like, I don't know, has, you know, obviously I'm on the stream. That feels dirty to me, Chris. That feels dirty. Dr. J, Scotty has 3 kids to feed. My kids are fine. My wife does real good.
The wifey carries the heavy lifting there.
Yeah.
By the way, a couple names have been popping up on Twitter. There's been Shooter McGavin, i.e. Fitzpatrick, the beard coming back for the 49ers. I'm sure he would be fine. By the way, also another one, Josh Johnson's getting some love here in 49. I think they might be working him out. By the way, if Josh Johnson comes to this team, every game is going to be a revenge game for Josh Johnson. Every single game, because he's played for literally every single team in the NFL.
We already talked about it. The obvious answer here is Colin Kaepernick. A return to the Niners for Colin Kaepernick. Let's do it.
Oh, he's
Let's
already been
go.
signed? He's already been signed? All right, fair enough. Well, every game is a revenge game. There you go. You always have motivation, no matter what. So,
Wreck, wifey is the breadwinner. Absolutely. I got no shame. What's wrong? What's wrong with my wife? My wife making more money. I have no problem with that. She kills it.
She crushes.
I promise she makes a lot more than you too, Wreck. All right, and I'm proud of her.
No, ladies make all the money nowadays. Yeah. Ladies make all the money.
I'm proud of my wife. She kills it, and she's awesome.
Power to all the ladies out there making all that cash, straight cash, homie. I mean, cashing in.
How do we get Cap on the Niners? Can we do like a GoFundMe?
By the way,
do you think if we raise enough money on like a GoFundMe, and I'll ask my wife if we can contribute, because obviously, as the breadwinner, I gotta ask her first. But can we raise like a GoFundMe for Colin Kaepernick being the next quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers?
We could.
Can we do that?
We could. Sponsored by.
I'll ask permission, guys.
Can we?
Obviously.
Sponsored by ActionLab. Colin Kaepernick. There you go. I wish Kaepernick could come back so he could put a whole thing of the rest for all the people that think he can play. Like, either way, here's the thing.
I agree, he can't play, but I'd still be entertaining as hell to watch.
Going into this game, I had the 49ers as my team coming out of the NFC. Coming into this weekend, if I were to pick one team, if you, Scotty, you were like, who's coming out of the NFC? Mm-hmm. I know the Eagles are good. I know Cowboys are playing well. I know some of these other teams. I would have picked, if you were to ask me, put a gun to my head, I would say 49ers are coming out of the NFC.
Fair. I wouldn't, I don't know if that would be my pick, but I wouldn't disagree with it necessarily. Like, that's a totally fair pick.
Now that Jimmy G is out, I'm like, that takes a hit, but I still don't hate their chances. I mean,
now you're crazy. I didn't hate it before. No.
I don't know.
What? No.
Maybe I'm a little.
They're done.
Are they done? Are they done?
Yeah, they're done.
Okay. Jets Vikings. Kirk Cousins here. By the way, the Vikings tried to give this one away. This was actually almost one of my best bets of the week for the other side, the New York Jets. The Jets. Phoenix, the fifth. Vikings did awful. This game, if you were to just see the score, you'd be like, oh yeah, great for the Vikings. Yeah, they're doing great this year and they're winning the division. This game, they could have lost this a couple times. They could have lost this game. And I had the Jets. Scotty, you saw it in my Slack channel when I was texting you my pets of the week. I crossed off the Jets as one of my best bets for an awful pick of over on the Thursday Night Football. But
yeah, no, I would have leaned Jets as well. Yeah.
I was on the Jets. That was one of, and I was like, I'm gonna get off it just because I'm a little iffy on it, but I would lean Jets. They had a 4th and goal, could have scored, did not. Then they did it again. They ended up stopping the Vikings at the end of this game. Had enough time to come down the field against this Vikings defense and try to score again to take the lead, and they couldn't do it again. They just fell apart on an interception at the end of the game to ice this one. But the Jets had this one, maybe not early on in this one, but the Jets came back and had plenty of opportunities to win this outright. They couldn't finish. This is not a good win for the Vikings.
I mean, it's a good win in the sense you beat a pretty good football team, but no, the total yards in this game were 486 for the Jets, 287 for
Mike
the
White,
Vikings.
by the way, Mike White.
The Vikings, Mike White's an upgrade. So Mike White is the best version of the Jets moving forward, and he will continue to start. But he threw for 369 yards in this game, by the way. It was 57 attempts, but still, a couple picks. I get it, but they dominated the run of play. The Vikings, one of my favorite stats, we talked about why we don't fully trust the Vikings moving forward, right? Like they're good, but how good are they? They get outplayed in this one. They win another game. During the end of this game, prior to it, they put a stat on the screen in the broadcast being like, Vikings have won 8 games by 1 score or less, which is a franchise record. And then guess what? Now they're at 9. So they've not only like 9 of their 10 wins are by a score or less. They're dominating these one-score games. I don't know if we got our Vikings fans in here right now. Joker. Sorry. I don't think the Vikings are going anywhere in the playoffs. They're going to get in there. I'd be shocked if they win more than one game. Shocked. And frankly, I'd be more surprised for them to win. Whoever they play in that first round, depending on who it is, I'm probably betting on that other squad.
By the way, Vikings 4-0 against the AFC East. They have. You want to talk about a team like the Colts sweeping the AFC West? Like the the Colts have done work against the AFC West. Let's just say the Vikings have just kind of worked their way through the AFC.
I'm not salty on the Vikings. I just don't trust them moving forward. But being 4-0 against the AFC's sweet. I mean, it took a miracle against the Bills. They got outplayed by the Jets. I don't even remember the Patriots game. Oh, no, that was Thursday. That was Thanksgiving night where they got somewhat lucky with a touchdown that wasn't called a touchdown. And who am I missing? Oh, Miami? Oh, Miami didn't have Tua. And they barely won that one. Minnesota is not a top 10 team for me.
Phoenix says they have beaten every good defensive team, though. I mean, I will say the Jets are a better defensive team. They did play good against the Jets. I mean, if you're talking about that AFC East, the Patriots were good, but they were good against some bad offenses. The Bills, they were fine, but they don't have Von Miller for the foreseeable future. Dolphins defense has been, average defenses, I would say. Jets were probably one of the better defenses that they've played up until this point, at least regarding those AFC East teams. But Commanders playing some decent defense. Fair enough.
To me, there's only 3 teams in the NFC, and now maybe 2.
Now that
I know you still argue about San Francisco, and Chairman said something about San Francisco, Jimmy not being great. But can you really say out loud that the Niners, led by Brock Purdy, are going to make a Super Bowl run and believe it? When you say that out loud? You can't believe that out loud. They're not going to beat the Eagles. They're not going to beat the Cowboys. Those are the 2 teams now in the NFC that, for me, it was a three-horse race. Everyone can throw shade at Jimmy, but he's way better than he gets credit for. I put him in the top half of the league, right around like 14, 15 in the league as far as quarterback play. Brock Purdy's nowhere near that. They're not going to win with Brock. Sorry.
I mean, there's a reason why he was third on the depth chart for sure. I also think that if there's any coach that could get a guy up to speed like Purdy, it would be Shanahan. But there's a talent piece to it, right? He's surrounded by talent. He doesn't have as much talent as Jimmy G or Trey Lance. So yeah, I get it. But we'll see.
And again, this Vikings team is 10-2 now. Going back to this Vikings with a plus 10 point differential now. 10-2, and they've outscored opponents overall this year by 10.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, they're not. I worry about the Vikings.
That's concerning to me moving forward. When you look at other teams like, I don't know, the New England Patriots at 6-6 have outscored teams by 23. Just saying.
Steelers Falcons here. Steelers end up coming out with the win. Falcons was actually one of my best bets of the week. Did not cover. I had them plus 1.5. I thought they would have a better showing at home here against the Pittsburgh Steelers team, who, I think, coming on the road and then just, facing a team like the Falcons who, I think can still put up points. I just like the way the Falcons were coming into this one. But Didn't end up covering here. Lose 3 by 3 points here to the Steelers. Scotty, I didn't have a lot of eyes on this game outside of just the fact that it was one of my best bets. This is probably I don't think I watched a single second of this game.
It wasn't on Red Zone a ton, Chris. I'll tell you that.
It was not. So, Chairman, why does it feel like the Steelers and Falcons play each other every week? This game was basically a home game for
which is one you can ignore because this game could have easily been ignored.
Yeah, this was a tougher one. And again, I didn't see a lot of it because Red Zone wasn't highlighting it a ton either. But Steelers come away with the win here.
How about George Pickens being a complete non-factor in this one for the Steelers? Their savior at wide receiver. 1 catch for 2 yards on 2 targets. He wasn't targeted. Of course, I follow. No, I don't even follow this guy on Twitter that I talked about to the Steelers fans in here before. This Filipponi or whatever his name is. And he keeps hyping Pickett, and it makes me like the Steelers even less. Because he just bullshits and makes weird statements that cater to him thinking that Kenny Pickett's going to be anything. Kenny Pickett's like 25 years old. Okay. Kenny Pickett is not it. And he's like, I thank goodness the Steelers took Kenny Pickett because this next draft, there's no one I would take over Kenny Pickett. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. Shut up. Kenny Pickett's thrown 4 touchdown passes this year. Okay.
Wreck is
Shut up.
You need a block pony already. He's garbage.
I'm not. That's the thing, Rec. I don't even follow him, but somehow he's in my Twitter stream based off of people I follow for some reason. I don't follow the dude. No chance I would follow the guy. I don't know how to block someone that I don't even follow. Can you do that?
But Pickens already throwing out. By the way, Pickens in this one. Mm-hmm. There's Twitter's posts and highlights of him doing his best Antonio Brown impression. Just throw me the fucking ball, man. Throw me the ball. Throw me the ball.
I thought he was bunkered in the locker room being like, go away, police. I thought that's what you were saying.
That too.
That's not what you were talking about?
No, but he's already throwing the tude out there, the attitude towards his offensive staff.
Pickens, Rec, and I said this, Chris, Pickens was my number 2 wide receiver in the draft.
Yeah,
I loved him. Loved him. But I talked to my buddy who's coaches in college, and I was like, hey, what's the deal here? He's like, dude, there are so many stories on why he's a red flag, and that Pickens mentally is not good. Not good at all. And he's starting that way. And now he doesn't get the ball for a game, and he kind of acted out this game, Chris. There's the fault of Pickens, and that's why he fell.
I mean,
the talent is undeniable. The mental part of that is a concern.
All right. Take that statement that you just said. The talent is undeniable. The mental is not there. Does that sound like any other former Pittsburgh wide receiver that we've?
I mean, I know you're talking about Antonio Brown, but Antonio Brown for a while actually mentally was in a good headspace, and then all of a sudden he went.
And then Montez Burfict happened
off the deep end and lost his mind.
Montez Burfict kind of changed.
Everyone's gonna blame CTE, and it could be CTE, Chris. I just don't like that being the automatic fallback. What if Antonio Brown's just
a bad person?
Yeah, what if he's just a bad dude?
I mean, that could be true too.
It could be either. But to assume that it's CTE is kind of unfair. I don't know. It seems like a little early for CTE to hit him. He just seems like a shitty dude. At this point, it's not even seems.
Cuban.
He is. Antonio Brown is one of him and Kanye should hang out and be like, hey, what's up?
Cuban Betty. Steelers got a wide receiver who is talented but crazy from the neck up. Weird. Just throwing that out there.
What happened to the good old Hines Ward days?
Oh man.
Classy, physical, but classy dude. What happened to that man? Steelers.
Next up, Seahawks and Rams. This one actually was an interesting one. I mean, the fact that the Rams are still playing in competitive games is kind of crazy considering they've lost. They're playing with Wolford as their quarterback, and they have.
No Cup, Aaron Donald is out for this one.
Like,
I don't think their number 2 Robinson was playing. Allen Robinson, I believe, was out for this one.
Yeah, I mean, he's out. So, I mean, the Rams shouldn't be expected to compete in games, but they were competing here against the Seahawks. And
I mean, the Seahawks had to come back late.
Yeah. This was kind of a surprise here. So, Seahawks win 27-23 over the Rams in this one. And, I mean, the Seahawks season is still kind of a mystery, but they're still winning games, believe it or not. And, I mean, a division battle here, NFC West. The standings here are still 3-9 for the Rams. They dropped down as Super Bowl defending champions here. Seattle 7-5, second in the division above Arizona, right behind San Francisco. So look out. Seattle Seahawks are better than what everyone expected.
Seattle is, well, right now they're 7-5, and the Commanders are 7-5-1,
Last
which I
code
guess
yellow.
is worse.
Last one.
That is worse. Spam code yellow as Chris takes a little break here. Yeah, I mean, Seattle had to fight and claw for this one, which isn't a great sign moving forward. But I respect everything about what Seattle's done this year. Obviously, everyone thought they were tanking, moving on from Russ, going with Geno. Their defense, to me, like, if any of you in the chat that aren't Seattle fans can name like 3 guys that are playing on the defense right now, that's impressive to me, because their defense has a bunch of nothing burgers. That's why the Rams, with Wolford and no one at wideout, were able to put up 23 today. That defense is not good and is going to hold them back eventually, but Geno being a free agent this offseason deserves a new contract from the Seattle Seahawks in a range that pays him, I mean, I think 35 plus million. That's just where NFL contracts for QBs are going. I mean, let's look at Kyler Murray's making 40 plus easy. Geno Smith's the better quarterback in my mind than Kyler Murray. So 35 plus for Geno. He deserves it. He should be the dude moving forward. And Seattle right now would be in the playoffs if it started today. Let me look at their schedule. What do they have moving forward? How capable? I know they play my Chiefs. That's all I know. Versus Carolina next week, and then their so at home against Carolina, at home against San Fran, which we don't know.
Everyone was right about Seattle though. Seahawks are getting a top 5 pick.
Seahawks are definitely getting a top 5 pick, like we all predicted. Just turns out to be the Denver pick, Chris. Then they're at KC versus the New York Jets, and then versus the Rams again. Honestly, the Seahawks schedule: Panthers, Rams twice. I mean, and even at home against the Jets, they're probably favored in at least
3 out of 4 of those, minimum. Maybe all 4.
3 for sure. I don't think they're going to be. Maybe they're favored at home against the Niners too. They could. I mean, obviously at the Chiefs they're not going to be favored, but home against Panthers favored. Home against the Niners, we'll see what Brock Purdy does, but that's going to be a tight line regardless. At home against the Jets, they'll be favored. At home against the Rams, they'll be favored. They have everything in front of them. I mean, the Seahawks are likely going to make the playoffs, which is shocking. No one saw the Seattle team making the playoffs.
Everyone thought they were selling all.
Turns out they just upgraded at quarterback.
They got better.
Chris?
They got better.
Got better where? At what position?
Don't worry about it.
Because I talked about their defense is trash.
Don't worry about it.
Where'd they get better, Chris?
Don't worry about it.
What position specifically on offense did they get better at?
Spam F in the chat. Scotty, do you think the Raiders...
Oh, you're respecting their offense. Nice.
No, I'm saying F, because you don't know what that means yet. Scotty, do you think the Raiders can beat the Rams? I think you might have addressed this, but yeah, if I'm answering that, yeah, they could beat the Raiders.
And the Raiders beat the Rams?
Yeah,
the Raiders are better than the Rams.
100%.
Yeah, they'll beat the Rams.
Eagles are getting a top pick. They own they own the Saints pick. Says Ted.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, Eagles. And who else has a? There's another team that I'm drawing a blank on that's gonna give up another top 10 pick to like a team that's doing really well. Drawing a blank right now. No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. All right, guys, keep hitting that follow button. We need one follow away from gifting out 2 more subs to the community. Hit that follow button. It's free, and it's hey, we can gift out some more subs and support the community even more. All right, so next up we have Titans and Eagles. This game, Scotty, did not go the way we anticipated. This one was a little bit tough. So, Scotty, both of us had Titans plus 5.5. Now, Coach Vrabel, he's a solid coach. He keeps things close. Against top teams, he's very good at keeping things very, very close. It's the other games that he kind of struggles with. The Eagles recorded 350 rush yards last week and then 350 this week. They become the third team since yards were first tracked in 1933 to record 350 rush yards one week and then 350 pass yards the next week, or vice versa order, regardless. So Eagles can beat you in a lot of ways, which is what makes them very dangerous, right? They have a decent defense and they have a potent offense that could do literally whatever you want. They did work here in this match, and Tennessee, we thought was going to keep this close. We thought the defense was going to hold these. The Eagles are starting to gain a little bit more on my confidence level here, moving down the stretch of the season, especially against this Titans team, who I thought would compete a little bit harder here, but the Eagles' offense was way too big for them, and the Titans' defense could not slow down this Eagles' offense.
Yeah, I mean this might be the most impressive. The Eagles had not looked well the last few weeks in my mind.
True,
not like they started off, but this is bouncing back in a big way. Obviously, we knew AJ Brown was going to want, to beat this team. He got a couple tutties in this one, dominated the play. I think Tannehill got hurt, maybe an ankle as well in this one, but that wasn't a factor in this. The Eagles owned it from the start, dominated this game, 35-10. Very, very impressive. Going back to the chat, Cuban, 3 Seattle defenders think they have Michael Jackson, Kobe Bryant, and Harvey Weinstein, which is maybe the if you don't know, they do have a Michael Jackson and a Kobe Bryant on their defense, and he just threw Harvey Weinstein in there because that's the perfect thing to do. That was Cuban epic. That is hilarious. I mean, that is brilliant.
Coming in with that one. Jalen Hurts in 12 games, 3,500 total yards, 29 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 108 passer rating, 11-1 record. I mean, that's an MVP candidate right there. He's in the mix
for sure. He's top 2.
I mean, that is incredible for a guy that is doing a lot for his team. So whether it's on the ground, whether it's throwing the ball, I mean, he's doing it. Total yards, touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. I mean, he's top 2 in the MVP. I mean, it was like a kind of a 3-horse race going into this week, and I think Mahomes was the clear leader, but maybe he fell back after losing. I think Hurts maybe jumped up a little, and the other one was Tua, and I think he fell off.
Off. Yep. It's a rough loss for Tua there. So, I mean, I think it's between Hurts and, I mean, you had Allen in there for a little bit. He fell off a little bit. So, I mean, this is a clear cut Hurts or Mahomes down the stretch. Who can have the better season? And right now, I mean, it's hard to go against what the stats I just said. So either way, it's going to be fun to see what happens down the stretch.
If you want to talk stats, I can talk stats.
Well,
Chris.
I mean, I'm not going to say Mahomes ain't got stats because he does too. That's why it's a 2-horse race. But
his stats are better
so,
with way less talent to work with.
Well, that's the argument that we talked about Wednesday, right? Is the fact that some people were saying, "Oh, Hurts is the clear cut And I was like, well, he has more to work with than Mahomes, and Mahomes is doing what he's doing without a lot of really good players to throw to hand the ball off to, even though, I mean, he's got young players. He's got some players that they pulled in through, free agency trades, this and that, but not like players like what Hurts has to work with. So that was what we were talking about Wednesday. That was my argument for Mahomes being in the conversation still.
Just one guy is thrown for 1,000 more yards than the other. And they play quarterback.
True. But, I mean, rushing touchdowns also wins games too.
Yep.
Just saying.
Well, I'll just make the argument. Who would you rather have on your team, Chris? Who would you rather have on your team? Between Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. And you don't have to pause. We could throw a chat out here, and a poll, and anyone who doesn't vote Mahomes is just lying. It's straight up trying to get at me.
I mean, it's hard to go against what Mahomes did in the playoffs. Prove it in the playoffs last season against the Bills. That was an insane. I mean, that's never going to be out of my memory. What we watched on that weekend. So until Jalen Hurts can do that in the playoffs, I think the edge has to go to Mahomes based off of the fact that.
No, I'm not asking who you'd vote for MVP. I'm saying who would you rather have as the starting quarterback for your team?
Probably Mahomes.
Why even say probably? If anyone, no one would say Hurts, and if you did, you'd be fired on the spot. Yeah, Chairman, we're back to Mahomes.
Mahomes.
Damn it.
True. Yeah.
Chairman wants so badly for Mahomes to be the Lions quarterback. It's wild.
I'd say Hurts if I wanted a run game. Mahomes at anything else, said McDuggets. Fair enough.
Cool. Line up Hurts at running back then.
Commanders and Giants. Wait, I must be looking at this wrong. They have the same total.
Nope. They do.
They both.
They sure do.
They're both 20.
They
Scott.
Sure do.
They're both 20. What? Is there something wrong with the score here? No, we're not wrong. Actually, I guess the score was 2020. This was a tie to finish out this one. The Giants, the Commanders, could not figure out how to score at the end of this game.
Neither team was. It's not like, oh, we had like missed field goals in overtime or like turnovers and field goal position. Neither team had like an inkling to score in overtime in this one. No. Not even close. They were just like, nah, we're good. Let's just play for a tie here.
You know what's weird is the minute this went to overtime, I was like, why does this feel like a tie?
Because I talked about it earlier. Like, a guy in our wins pool had both teams, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna tie. This is definitely gonna tie, and sure enough, it did.
Dr. J, have a great week and wonderful night and a week. Appreciate that, Dr. J. It's always
Dr. J.
a pleasure to have you in. And go Raiders moving forward.
Glad your Raiders are won like 3 of 4. They're getting a little hot.
Yeah. So,
and honestly, thanks for joining us. Hope you have a great week. Yeah. Have a good night.
Have a good
Sleep
night.
well.
We will see you back here Wednesday night, hopefully, Dr. J. By the way, Dr. J, if you're in Discord, shoot me over a DM. I wanted to message you something also on the side. So
now you're just getting weird with everybody.
Slide in. I mean,
way too many slides into the DM.
If Milwaukee's best isn't sliding into my DMs, I need Dr. J too. I mean, it's just how this works.
So Dr. J's the backup?
Yeah, I get.
Oh, I'm sure she'd love to hear
Dr. J,
that.
you're never a backup. Commanders Giants though. This felt underwhelming. The finish of this game. I wanted a winner out of this one. Commanders, though, I mean, the Commanders are doing something that I didn't think they would do at all, and that's win games. They are 7-5 at the bottom of this division. Giants 7-4. I'm not adding the tie. Casually average. I'm still here. I'm not forgetting about you casually. I recognize you.
We see your average.
If you were a little bit more average, maybe we would give you more attention.
I just love that you're casual about it. And I think that's important.
I mean,
it's important to be casual about your average state.
Yeah. But this division is so interesting. I mean, the worst team in this division is 7-5-1. Go figure.
Yeah.
And that's the Commanders.
Yeah. This actually is perfect, Chris. This result is exactly what it should be. Two teams that have played some good football, don't get me wrong, but middling at best, in my opinion, and they played to a tie. This is exactly what should have happened in this game.
Middling at its best.
Yeah. I mean, I could list off probably at least 15 teams that are better than these two, and I don't think you'd disagree with me, Chris.
Probably not. I mean,
we're not going to do that. I don't know if G Girl's still here. I'm sorry, G Girl. I think they're an average football team that have won some games, and the Giants might make the playoffs, and they have come a long way. But then again, the Giants have a decision to make in this offseason, and I think G Girl would say,
no,
Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes isn't it. So until the Giants can find a quarterback that's at least somewhat it, I can't trust him. And Washington has Taylor Heineke, so
it's hard to look up at the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles and say, yeah, either of these two teams are better than them. But
yeah, I mean, the Giants and Commanders have not won against, lost. I think, have the Commanders lost twice against the Cowboys? At least once. Giants have lost to the Cowboys. The Commanders obviously did beat Philly, the only win, but do we believe that was real? Not really.
By the way, we tied in our MVP race, of course, Hurts and Tua, which is crazy to me that tied. But 2-2. Who's winning MVP in our chat? Vote 2-2, of course. Sleeping Beauty, you say something that every time it's said, it makes
love it.
It like gives me chills every time I see this, and it's weird. Like, it's a weird thing to get chills about, but
careful, he might slide in your DMs.
I might slide in the DMs. Who knows? No, I'm not. But
he's a married man.
That's right. But she says, this is a rare ladies in a sports chat. This is cool. That means more to us. Like, I mean, like, we love sports. We love talking sports
or sports. Sports or sports.
Sports, whatever. Either way, we are trying to be as open as possible to as many people as possible, and that's everybody. It doesn't matter. Like, I love the fact that this is as female driven as anybody else out there, and that's what makes us feel good, that we hope we are welcoming to everybody who wants to come in here and, you know, have a good time here talking sports, regardless of male, female, whatever it may be.
Yeah, it's not like we had a game plan going into this where we're like targeting any audience necessarily. We're like, we're going to talk about sports, and fortunately it manufactured into having some phenomenal females that watch us and follow us and are in the chat, and quite frankly,
y'all talk sports good,
incredible. Like, no, better than the guys in this chat. Like, I'll put it out there.
Rex, like, damn, you only care about the women.
Yeah, we do. No.
Yeah, it's true.
We care about everybody, but to be honest, like, I don't know. Like, I haven't really ever thought about it outside of people throwing that in the chat, Chris. I'm just like, it's never once been like, oh, here's a female talking about it, like, as if that matters to me. It really doesn't.
No, we appreciate all of your takes.
Let's just have a good time, and if you're fun and you want to talk sports and you want to hang with us, let's do it. Let's talk.
Chris and Scott care about the women like men's soccer team. It's true. We do. We care. We got love for the men's soccer team. We got love for the ladies in the chat. So that's all it is.
Let's go.
All right. Well, that's going to do it here. Let's review our best bets of the night, of the week, I should say. This is all updated. Scotty, we took a hit. Both of us took a hit this week. But you know what? Look at those records, though.
Still good.
Those records are still fantastic. And, I mean, the fact that you're 31-21, that's incredible in itself. The 33-18-1, had that tie in there, whatever. We had a 1-3 week each of us. Here we go, Rec.
I have a challenge for Scotty next Sunday. If he mentions Mahomes in a game that the Chiefs aren't in, he has to say something mean about the Chiefs, and he can't say the same thing each time.
Okay.
Easy. If anything, that might allow me to mention Mahomes more, because I have plenty of things to be mad about with the Chiefs.
There you go. Hey, there you go.
No problem.
Damn. Was I in the kitchen for the Bronco game? There you go, Cuban. But yeah, we're gonna improve on this. The cats were eating good for Kitty, Cosmic. But I mean, we can't do it every week. We can't be super Scotty. We gotta. Kobe had an off day. Jordan had his off day.
It's funny that like neither of us had a losing week, and then we both hit losing weeks the same week. Kind of ironic there. It's not like we all. I mean, we had one same pick, but otherwise, our other three were different. What do we? Chairman cooking with Russ. That's what Cuban was doing. Missing the Broncos game. He was cooking with Russ, who also wasn't an appearance for that game. He was busy in the kitchen.
Sleeping Beauty, we know about the cats. Don't worry. We know the cats eat well when we bet.
know. Yeah. We know about the cats.
Believe us, we
hopefully she didn't watch our stream on Wednesday, and hopefully the cats are going to be fine this week, because I feel personally responsible.
I know
for whether the cats are fed or not.
Is it weird that
it's a lot of pressure?
The cats' diet hinges, their meals this week hinge on our bets. Like I feel like I got pressure now.
I feel like I need to send some food the cat's direction. Give me an Addy, give me an address. I'll send some cat food. What do the cats eat? Because I feel bad this week. I let you down.
We let you guys down, but that's not going to happen again this week. We're going to hit you this Wednesday with 4 more bets each. Bets of the week. We're going to improve on our record that much more, because we've been nailing it all season long, and we are going to try to do that again coming up this week on week 14 of the NFL. Guys, this week we are covering NFL week 14. We're covering World Cup updates. We're covering college football, because there's a lot of college football happening. You guys love talking about some of that, the scenarios and the teams and everything else. So we're going to cover that. We're going to cover, I mean, you name it. We have a lot to get to this coming Wednesday. Make sure you hit that follow button. My name is Chris. This is Scott. We are your host for the Action Lab, your premier sports and entertainment talk show on Twitch. Let's